Now, it's my pleasure, as usual, to introduce our news specialist and panel moderator, a unique combination of the talents of Floyd Patterson, Ted Williams, and Toots Shore, Mr. John Charles Daly. And now it's time for the award for panel moderator of What's My Line. And the nominees are Yogi Berra, Dr. John Charles Daly, and Jeffrey Hellman. And the winner is Dr. Charles Daly. Well, an amateur statistician has figured that this show has gotten 32 national awards in the past 6 months, and I think a great many of them are due in large measure to the competence and facility of our very charming moderator, John Charles Daly.
Well, good.
And on our left is our panel moderator, and I hope we'll all be sympathetic and understanding with him tonight, because he hasn't won a plaque or an award now for almost 4 days. On my left, poor old John Charles Daly. Here's the Noah Webster of the television channels and the pin-up boy of every sorority house in the United States, John Charles Daly. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our superb panel moderator, a man who lives by the principle they will never say in 5 words what he can say in 200. Mr. John Charles Daly. And now it's my pleasure to introduce the Jekyll and Hyde of television. He's the erudite Dr. Jekyll of news analysis, and he's the mean, misleading Mr. Hyde of What's My Line, John Charles Daly. And down in Jamaica, the head of this network, CBS, Mr. Bill Paley, has a house and a pool that's very often out of order, and they got a calypso song for him. What is wrong with the pool at the Paleys? And I taught them a new calypso chorus. What is wrong with the answers of Daly's? And here he is, and I'm mighty glad to see him again, our moderator, John Daly. Now here's What's My Line's favorite panel moderator and our own private witch doctor, Mr. John Charles Ooh-ee, ooh-ah-ah, ting-tang, walla-walla, bing-bang Daly. And here's the bright shining star of that new Broadway smash hit, How to Succeed in Befuddling the What's My Line panel Without Really Trying, John Charles Daly.
And on my left, a gentleman who was just voted one of the 10 most famous pipe smokers in America. As far as I'm concerned, all 10 of them are embodied in this one fella, Mr. Bennett, sir.
And now it's my pleasure to introduce a gentleman who at 2 o'clock this morning rescued our moderator by pulling him out of a very deep swimming pool in Mount Kisco, Mr. Bennett, sir. It's my privilege to introduce the man who raised Random House from a pamphlet to an institution, Mr. Bennett, sir. And on my left is a fellow who I hope is always on my right or left, my fellow Bennett, sir.
Thank you.
And on my left, a gentleman who knows practically every word in the wonderful American College Dictionary that he publishes and can use them in a sentence, Mr. Bennett, sir.
I would like to introduce What's My Line's answer to the Beatles, Mr. Bennett, sir. And on my left, a wonderful athlete who has just won the swimming championship of Mount Kisco in his own pool, Mr. Bennett, sir.
And on my left, one of the town's most terrific publishers on the one hand, and the man that makes the most terrible puns on the other hand, Mr. Bennett, sir.
I'd like everyone out there to know that the president of Random House treats his girl authors so well that one of them just celebrated her 102nd birthday. Her name is Grandma Moses. Here's Miss Bennett, sir. And on my left, a gentleman with whom I would like to be caught under the mistletoe, Mr. Bennett, sir.
I need a mistletoe.
On my left, a girl who knows the difference between a flatted fifth and a diminished seventh. One of New York's leading jazz buffs, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
Arlene, and next, the charming lady whose column I always read from New York to find out what I'm doing in California, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
I'm determined to get the first one right. She is salaried, she deals in services, and I'm very much happier for what she does, and she's pretty too, and her name is Dorothy Kilgallen, right?
A lady who is doing a new book called How to Write a Column Without Really Trying, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
It's my pleasure to introduce that charming columnist, radio broadcaster, mother of three, and one who has such a sense of inquiry she should be working for the FBI, Dorothy Kilgallen.
She is.
And now I'd like to introduce a young lady who is the salt of the earth. I know I saw her dancing the other night, and she's quite a shaker. Dorothy Kilgallen.
And on my left, wearing the white gloves and the black dress, weighing in at 106 pounds, fighting out of the New York Journal-American, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
By the way, Jerry has a little poem written to introduce Dorothy. Would you start? Oh, all right. Now, here's a lady who's just returned from a country so Italian. Italian? Go ahead. Allow us now to introduce Miss Dorothy Kilgallen. Oh, no.
One of the foremost columnists, newspaper women in the world today, whom I want to thank for what she's going to write about me tomorrow, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
It is my pleasure to introduce to you the first and only lady who has been made an honorary chief of the New York City Fire Department, Dorothy Kilgallen.
And now one of the luckiest things that ever happened to show business, and certainly to television, Miss Arlene Francis.
I'd like to borrow a little from Rogers and Hart. Thou swell, thou witty, thou sweet, thou grand, Miss Arlene Francis.
And to my left, a young lady who each week gets 2 weeks lovelier, Arlene Francis.
Thank you. And on my left, a lovely young lady who comes to the show hungry every week, they tell me. Nobody brought her any goodies or lemonade. Lovely Arlene Francis. Girl actress.
After considerable research, I've finally decided that my next book will be Arlene Francis Says the Darndest Things in the Most Charming Way. Here she is, Arlene.
And on my left, a young woman who's making her first appearance on television since yesterday, Miss Arlene Francis.
And on my left, a most charming gal, an avid reader of Nathaniel Hawthorne. Her favorite story is A House with Two Gables, Miss Arlene Francis.
I used to room with a fellow called Martin Gable. I'd like to introduce his current roommate, Miss Arlene Francis.
You trained him very well, Jim. Thank you.
On my left, a girl who makes me proud to be known all over the country as Arlene Francis' husband, Arlene Francis.
And on my left, the feminine part of the team that was just selected by the National Father's Day Foundation as the husband and wife team of the year. Martin couldn't be here. They just had a fight. But here is Arlene Francis.